Tell me West Coast Rob, man. And welcome to my podcast, You Bitch. So you want to start recording the podcast, huh? YeahDat. But what platform are you going to use? So there are a lot of free platforms out there, but those free platforms limit you in what you can do to take your podcast to the next level, giving you that professional quality sound. But if I may give you a little bit of advice, I use Riverside.fm. Now, a lot of top social media influencers and CEOs use Riverside.fm because it allows you to record audio and video clips in high-def 4K resolution. It separates audio and video clips from your guests, so that way you can easily crop, edit, and produce a great final product. Go to the show notes and click on the link to start your free trial. And once that trial is up, then you just select the subscription package that works best for you. You got to invest in yourself and do it with the best. Riverside.fm. Go try it. Let me know what you think. YeahDat. So now you got your podcast recorded, but who's going to host your podcast? Here goes another tip. Use Captivate.fm. Captivate.fm gives you the freedom and flexibility to make podcasting yours. Create and distribute unlimited podcasts, get advanced analytics, monetize, and promote in one simple, easy-to-use dashboard. Created by podcasters for podcasters with a dashboard that makes running and promoting your show a complete breeze. It's the only podcast host you need with everything you need to share your podcast with the world. Set up your podcast or migrate in seconds. There's no contracts, commitments, and every feature is included from day one with no need to upgrade ever. Reach audiences all over the world with easy, single-click submission to leading directories, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Pods, Amazon, as well as popular listening apps like Overcast, Castro, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, whatever. So, once you get that podcast recorded, upload it, use Captivate.fm to host your podcast and distribute your podcast to all the podcast platforms out there. Click the link in the show notes to start your free trial and then pick what works for you. It's Captivate.fm. YeahDat. The thoughts, views, and opinions you hear on this show are just that. My thoughts, my views, my opinions. So if you don't like them, disagree with them, or whatever the case may be, well, there's a simple solution to all that, and that's just stop listening. But if you care to partake in the conversation, well, sit back, turn it up, and enjoy the show. YeahDat. Welcome back to another episode of the YeahDat podcast, hosted by yours truly, West Coast Roberto. How y'all doing out there? First off, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in, those of you who are watching on the YouTube. For those of you listening, you already know. If you don't know, you can watch this episode and every other episode, past, present, and future, on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/West Coast Rob. Oh yeah, the homie got enough. You know what I'm saying? So youtube.com/West Coast Rob and watch this episode. Or if you're just traditional podcast fan, listen to it on any and every podcast platform. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You know the deal. That's why you're tuning in. Those of you who are new to the show, welcome and thank you for tuning in to the YeahDat podcast hosted by yours truly, West Coast Rob. How are you all doing out there? Me, myself, I can't complain. I'm doing very well. I mean, the year has been good to me thus far. Can you believe it's already February? We already blew through January of 2022. That's crazy. Time flies. But, be fortunate to be where you are right now. So February, I hope everybody's doing well out there. If you aren't doing well, just whatever it is you're going through, just stick with it. Keep fighting. Don't succumb to it. because there are always better days on the other side of whatever the case may be. But, I'm doing well. I just, it's the weekend. I record on the weekends. I work all week on the pod, Lately, since 2022, I've been on the podcast grind, just working, just at it, steady at it, promo, expansion, marketing, etc., etc. And this is fun to me. I love doing it. So those of you who are listeners and, who are just avid followers, I truly, truly appreciate you. You have no idea. But I've been on the podcast grind, and I lay in bed at night and I think about it. I'm like, what am I gonna do? What can I do to do this? I've been doing my podcast homework. I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, and I take bits and pieces from podcasts that I listen to, that I watch, and I kind of throw it in to my podcast. It's all about progression and being better. So for those of you out there who are going through some stuff, just stick with it. It'll get better. You'll progress. You'll look back and you'll be like, man, that's crazy. I remember I was going through that, And me personally, I have a lot of friends and a lot of homies who have been going through some stuff, and I tell them the same thing. One comes to mind, one was going through some things in regards to their occupation at the time, and they were complaining about, man, I think I made a mistake. This isn't for me. I don't know what to do. They're hard on me. Ooh, this isn't this. And I just tell them the same thing. I'm like, hey, man, just keep going. Don't succumb to it. Fight through it, and things will get better. And, right now they're doing good. They're happy. What they're doing now may not ultimately be what they want to do for the rest of their life or whatever the case may be, but they're in a happier place mentally. So, we've all been there. If you haven't been there, you'll get there. You'll experience some hardships, and then you'll come out of the hardships a better person, and you'll look back like, man, I remember when I was doing this, and then you're just going to help the next person. So stick with it. As for me, like I said, with the podcast, man, I'm enjoying myself, just helping the podcast grow. And I thank you for helping the podcast grow by consistently listening, watching, subscribing, etc., etc. And I got so much love for you for that. But yeah, right now, man, life is good for me. I can't complain. I'm busy. I had my oldest daughter plays on the travel soccer team. Excuse me, let's drink some water. She plays on the travel soccer team, so I had to drive 2.5 hours yesterday for a state tournament game that we went to play in, and it was freezing outside. My goodness, it was freezing. But out of everybody in my family who attended, which was me, my wife, and my 2 daughters, I think I was the most appropriately dressed person. I remember back in the day, my aunt used to be like, oh, bundle up. I was bundled up. I was good. But it was cold, man. It was cold. That wind was cutting. Man, we didn't get the outcome that we wish we would have gotten in the game. But, it is what it is. It's the first time playing in about 2 months. So, the girls got to knock off a lot of rust. But it is what it is. So we drove 2.5 hours one way, played the game, drove 2.5 hours back. It was probably more like 2 hours because the homie got a heavy foot and be flying. I'd be speeding. So got back last night and to our side of the town, or to our side of the state rather, and then went out to eat. And my eyes were a little bigger than my stomach. We were talking about what we were going to eat on the way home, or when we get in our neighborhood or in our area. So we stopped at our local spot. Got a little Mexican food. You know what I'm saying? And the homie smashed some food, bro. Sisses, homies, gals, smashed some food. So I'm from Cali. So the standard for Mexican food is the bar is high. It's high. So my wife, it's her favorite. It's her favorite food. I would say. She loves some Mexican. So we tried a lot of spots. We found a spot close to the crib here. And it's good. It's good. You know, when we left Washington State, we had a spot that we went to. It was a little hole in the wall spot, but the people were from San Diego, so they knew how to throw it down. Cali burritos, carne asada, fries. Yes, that's the stuff I grew up on. You know what I mean? So there's the spot here. Like, I always look for carne asada, burritos, and fries. No spot has the fries. If they do have the fries, they have it with like crinkle cut fries and stuff like that. You can't do it on crinkle cut fries. You can't do carne asada fries on crinkle cut fries. You cannot do it. That's like some homemade stuff. I'll do that here at the house. It comes out good, but it's not the same. But anyway, the restaurant we go to here, they have carne asada fries, and they're not crinkle cut fries, and they're so delicious, man. So it's an appetizer. So ordered an appetizer. You know what I mean? We split it amongst the four of us, and then my wife was like, "Oh, what are you getting?" I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get 2 more orders of carne asada fries, and that's gonna be my meal." So then my my youngest got a quesadilla, my oldest got some enchiladas, and then my wife got deep fried chimichanga, and then I got the 2 orders of carne asada fries. That's a good serving, man. It feels. Remember, I said we ordered an appetizer and it held the 4 of us down. But you know, I can smash some food. Those of you who know me personally know I can put some food away. You know what I mean? So brought the first plate out. I'm like, oh yeah. I made sure. I was like, yo, there's another one coming. He's like, oh yeah. I was like, cool. Brought them both out. I'm like, oh yeah. So my daughter's like, my youngest is like, I don't think you're gonna finish that. You're gonna be in the truck like, oh, I'm full. I can't finish it. I was like, please, child. Oh, ye of little faith in your father. Demolishing the first plate. Down. I'm going second plate. I get about halfway through. I'm like, you. So then she's sitting across from me. She's like, see, told you. I was like, oh, I can get it. Wifey's like, are you full? I'm like, yeah, full. So I can't put food away like I used to, but I had me a good little portion to take home. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, I'm gonna go home, have a couple beverages. You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna eat on this later. I got to the house and was so full from overeating. I was miserable. Those of you who have gone to that point before where you have smashed some food, too much food, where you've overeaten to the point where you're just like, oh my goodness. And then sometimes when I smash food and it's like real salty or whatever the case may be, the sodium levels are high, you get thirsty. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm getting better. I mean, I'm thirsty though. Let me kill this water. So I'm pounding water. It's just adding to the discomfort. So I laid up in bed like, oh my gosh, I'm hurting. So didn't get to indulge in no adult beverages or none of that, but it is what it is. It was cool. Had a good time. So woke up this morning and I woke up early. God, don't you hate that? It's like you work all week and then you look forward to the weekend, which on Saturday I had to wake up early. We had to wake up early because we had to prepare for that drive. It was 2.5 hours away. So we had to prepare to get there the allotted time we're supposed to be there, which is like 45 minutes before game time. So had to wake up early. So Sunday I'm like, okay, cool. Sunday we don't got no soccer games, but my daughter has a gymnastics meet. So I'm like, okay, it's only 25 minutes away. Bam. We ain't got to be there till what, 11:45? Cool. Easy. I'm gonna sleep in a bit, you know what I mean? Wake up around 10:30ish, maybe. We'll see. Man, I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning. 6 o'clock. It's like, man, come on, son. Come on, man. Come on. So, been up since 6. My wife came downstairs, let the dog out, you know what I mean, fed the animals. And then I came down around 9. You know what I mean? And then I was like, what am I gonna eat for breakfast? Oh, I still got some carne asada fries left. ate them mugs for breakfast. I ate those around 9:30, 10 o'clock, and they were scrumdiddly umptious. So did that, and then prepared to go to my daughter's gymnastics meet, which went very well. You know, she's a competitive gymnast. She's so good. And actually just got back from the meet, and she ended up placing first overall. So she was first in vault, she got first in beam, she got third in the bars, and the floor vent is like her strong suit. She got second in the floor today, and she ended up getting first overall, which, you know, extremely proud of her. She's a beast, and she's just so smooth. That's her nickname. I gave her the nickname was Smooth because her transitions in regards to her routines on the floor and like on the beam. My God, smooth, so smooth. So, you know, that's my weekend recap. I hope you guys had a great weekend and gals had a good weekend. But you know, I can't complain. So for those of you out there who are dealing with hardships, and you know, I apologize if, you know what I mean, my positivity or whatever is offensive to you. You know, no, don't mean to offend. Just know that your times will get better. But you know, people are crazy. People are unique. Human beings are unique specimens, creatures. And you know, one thing, like I tell my wife all the time, like I'm a people person, and like a lot of my homies know, you know, I'm a people person. I wasn't always a people person. I used to hate motherfuckers. I used to dislike. If I didn't know you, I disliked you. But the older you get, the wiser you get. You know, I'm a firm believer in that because I've noticed the changes in myself. And yeah, people, no matter where you go, you're gonna experience people being assholes and sensitive or whatever. And just, I don't know. The older I get, I notice it. And it's just like, why, when people do dumb shit, it's like, okay, why do you do that? Or the sensitivity. I don't know if it's with the news, with our society nowadays. Like, people are offended and forget about things like, you know, opinions. Like you have the right to your own opinion. Like the podcast, this stuff is my opinion. I mean, I express my opinion, my beliefs, or whatever it is. You know, I'm open to hearing everybody else's, but you know, you have the right to voice your own opinion. So people are quick to try to bring someone down or get offended or just do dumb shit. And I sit all the time and I just look and I observe, and it's like, what is the logic behind what you just did? Or what do you what are you gaining out of what you're doing right now? So, prime example, you know, one of my pet peeves, especially when I'm driving, is, you know, the left lane, the fast lane. You're driving, someone's ahead of you. I know they look in the rear view, they see you coming up fast on their ass, like, yo, get out of the way. I mean, you can get back in the left lane, just let the person going faster than you get by. But, you know, I experienced a lot of people yesterday where it's like, get the fuck out of my motherfucking way. God damn, why are you see me on your ass? You know you're driving slow. Like, get out of the fucking way. Like, what the fuck? That shit just irks me. Like, get the fuck out of the damn way. Like, oh my God, I just can't. Oh, I'm sorry if it's loud, but that's one thing that truly bothers me. And it's like, you know, the flow, there wouldn't be traffic. In my opinion, there would not be traffic if you're on a 3-lane highway or a 2-lane highway. If you weren't passing somebody, if you're not, you know what, this is what I'm telling you right now. If you're not passing someone, just ride in the right lane. And then once you're coming up on somebody, you know what I mean? Get in that left lane, drive, go around them. If there's somebody in front of them, you're going fast, go around them. As soon as you pass everybody you've passed so far, get in the right lane. Leave that lane open. You know what I mean? Simple. But then you have people. There was one dude. He was in a truck and he was towing he had a trailer in the back with like a 4-wheeler. It's like, come on, you're not gonna be going fast in this lane. Why are you in this lane? Or there's a lady in a van, packed, like she was moving, just in that lane, like lady, please move, just please move. You know what I mean? And then you gotta zoom around them and shit. And me, I'm petty. I like to I'll get in the right lane and get back in the left lane. Lightweight cut you off and shit. It's like, get the fuck out the way. You know what I mean? Little shit like that. Then it's in regards to people being sensitive and shit. So the Joe Rogan thing. I know a lot of you have heard about it. So I'm gonna express my feelings about it. You know, I know I just talked about somebody, or like sensitivity, people being sensitive. So the Joe Rogan thing, he caught a lot of slack because of the doctors that he had on, Dr. Peterson or Patterson, whatever. And then he had Gupta on. He had a couple other doctors. And they were voicing their opinions about COVID and whatever. And I guess people who heard the show, or listened to the episode, claimed that misinformation was getting put out. So they requested and are boycotting Spotify and wanted him removed from the platform. Okay, cool. Because of misinformation being put out. One, the dude was a doctor. These individuals are medical professionals. One of them highly publicized, you know, whatever the case may be. Just because it offends you or you don't agree with whatever the guest was saying doesn't mean you need to come at Joe for having a guest on and being open-minded. That's just like me having that guest on, you know, and having him express his views, his opinions, and the listeners and viewers are like, oh no, get Rob off of, get him removed, blah blah blah. That's like, if you don't like what you're listening to, stop listening to it. You know what I mean? Stop listening to it. Like if you don't want to get fat, stop eating fast food. You know what I mean? Like it's one of them things. So, you know, Joe came out and he brought up some valid points, and I'm all about hearing people, and if they have valid points to defend themselves, I'm always open to hearing what they have to say. So he comes out and he's like, you know, people are claiming misinformation, but if we were to go back, especially in regards to COVID, you know, COVID is a sensitive subject. Nowadays, you cough, people think it's COVID. You can't sneeze in public without getting looks, coughs, whatever the case may be. But he brought up some valid points, saying, you know, people are complaining about misinformation, but if right at the peak of COVID, at the beginning of COVID, if someone were to say cloth masks don't work, people would automatically be like, oh, that's misinformation, when it's been proven. Or the fact that, oh, just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you're immune to getting COVID. People would claim that's misinformation, you know, which is true, which are valid points, because back then, if you were to say that, like, oh, I'm vaccinated, I'm not catching COVID. If you were to say that back then, people would have been like, oh, you're putting out misinformation. If you do get vaccinated, you are immune from COVID. But if you were to say, no, you still have a possibility of catching it, people would have easily claimed that's misinformation. Same shit. So, you know, I felt him on that aspect right there. You know, so all the people who removed their music from the platform because of that incident and those issues, it's like, come on, man. If you don't like it, so what? You don't like it, that's cool. I mean, it's not like he's over here like saying, yeah, this dude is correct. He had a guest on who was providing his opinion, his feelings, or whatever the case may be. So I just found that, like, my wife was adamant about it. Like, yeah, you know, he's putting out misinformation, boo. She was one of them. So I'm like, okay. I'm more so on the opposite spectrum. on the side of Joe Rogan. It's like, I guess because I host a podcast myself, but he's just being open and learning from the guests and listening to what the guests' opinions are. So we were talking about this on the way to the soccer game yesterday, and so we had a conversation, and I was like, yeah, I can feel where he's coming from though. But then this new stuff comes out of him dropping the N-word, using the N-word, stuff like that. It's like, come on. But what irked me about that is like, okay, cool. Now there's this new stuff with him dropping the N-word. My thing is like, you guys, now people are obviously targeting him because he has this issue, and now all of a sudden someone goes in the past and brings up and starts digging up like, oh, look at this, is him dropping the N-word, whatever. I know he was using it, and his rebuttal to it was like, oh, I was using it in a context, like in the correct context of whatever they were talking about in regards to the word, the N-word, whatever. I apologize. I shouldn't have said it, but I felt that in the context of the N-word being used, it was the correct context for me to use it. Which reminds me of my last episode with Vernon. When is a correct time for white people to use the N-word? Never. Ever. Never. I don't give a fuck what context you're using it. Don't say it. Don't say it, because somebody's going to get offended, especially nowadays in the soft ass society we live in. Someone is going to get offended by something you do, regardless of the type of context you're using or whatever the case may be. So just keep that in mind. If you have to think like, okay, someone might get offended if I say this or if I do this, should I say it? If that even pops in your head, don't say it. Just don't say it. Don't do it. So now, all the smoke that he's catching right now, it's just like, to me, it's like, damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. And it sounds kind of sketchy because it's like it was just a bunch of clips that were chopped up and put together. It's like, if it's legitimate stuff, okay, like you have legitimate footage, you have legitimate clips, but if it's a collage or like a compilation that is put together just to, alienate or whatever the case may be as an individual, it's like, come on. Do I condone him saying the N-word? Fuck no. Hell no. If you ain't black, don't say the shit. Don't say the shit. Even if you are black, don't say the shit. You know what I mean? It's an offensive word. It offends races or whatever. Like, don't say shit. Don't say it at all. Whatever. It's a fucking one of them words that will just spark controversy. Just don't say the shit, especially public figures. Don't say it. So I'm eager to see what happens in regards to Joe Rogan and all that stuff and his platform. It's a shame that it's come to this stuff, but it's the fact, to me, it's a part of our society and how soft our society has gotten. That just, it's a shame. To me, it's a shame. And it's like, it goes back to people. Like, growing up, I never understood, like, the study of anthropology and like, how can someone study people? But that was just me being younger, my mind not being fully matured. Now I'm intrigued and I can admire the study of anthropology, because people are just, I don't know, it just intrigues me, how people can act in regards to what they feel is important or whatever. And it's crazy. It's crazy, So I'm eager to see what happens next with Joe Rogan, if that impacts him in UFC, because I don't know. He has a lot of ventures and stuff, and a lot of sponsorships. So should he have said the N-word despite the context being a positive context? No. Just don't say it at all. But the fact that people are going after him and shit like that, trying to dig up dirt and shit, that's the shit that bothers me. Just like the shit with Kevin Hart. Like, oh, he said this 10 years ago or whatever the fuck. People dig, like, whose job is it to dig up old shit? Like, who does that? Like, okay, well, they got this guy. I just got an email. Time to dig up some info on fucking woo. Like, whose job is that? Like, what is the fucking requirements for that job? Like, that's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. People are fucking crazy, man. People are fucking extraordinary, but yet they're crazy at the same time. And I don't know. It also leads me into like people. I've known people. For example, I was tight with a person, tight as fuck, close as a motherfucker. And I hate hypocrisy. That's another thing I cannot stand, is being a hypocrite. Hypocrisy, I cannot stand it. And the aforementioned person I talked about, we were tight. Person knew me good as a motherfucker. But then, we things changed. We grew apart. We moved from each other. But at the end of the day, that person knows me, knows who I am, knows everything about me, traits, all that shit. They catch wind, or someone tells them a rumor, everything you knew about a person out the window. So that person just ultimately, and I went from this person, this beloved person in their life, to the freaking, I can't stand this dude. This dude's fake. Everything he said to me was fake. It's like, I don't give a fuck what anybody says about me. But, for the relationship we had, you're what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? You're questioning my character. Like, really? You're questioning my character. Anyways, fast forward. You check on people. Like me, I'm a loyal friend, a loyal homie. So despite us falling out, I still want the best for you, regardless. Because we've had a relationship back in the past. We were tight. Even though we're not tight anymore, we don't talk anymore, we're not cool anymore, I still wish the best for people. I still wish the best for you. So, I'll pop up and check on you every now and again. And then, when you check on people and it's like they're putting these quotes out there like, oh yeah, people, be real with people. Just these hypocritical quotes that totally negate who they are, or that totally negate what they did with people. Like, stay true to people. This that's just something that irks me too. It's like, it's crazy how people, like, people are so unique, so amazing, so gifted, but then they can be so stupid at the same time. And it's like, it's just crazy to me. But all this stuff popped in my head, and I just wanted to get it out and vent, and kind of give my opinion and address my opinion, all this stuff. So had a good weekend. Those are my thoughts about the whole Joe Rogan thing. My thoughts and feelings about people and all that stuff. So it's kind of a little pop-up episode, makeshift episode. I hope y'all enjoy the episodes. I hope y'all follow the podcast on whatever platform. Please, whatever platform you listen to, make sure you rate the show. That helps out. That helps the show grow. That allows me to know what types of topics that you like to listen to out there, the types of guests or whatever. So please, whatever platform you listen to this podcast on, please make sure you go down, the little 5 stars right there. Go ahead and click the 5 stars. Bam. Rate the show. Give me a rating. You can leave a comment. Please subscribe to the show. All that. If you want to watch the show, you can watch it on YouTube. youtube.com/WESTCOAST ROB. I'll pop up. YeahDat podcast. Thank you so much for listening out there. Please, drop me a line too. You got an Instagram. Follow the podcast at YeahDat podcast on Instagram. Get on there. Drop me a message saying what's up. I love interacting with listeners. Give me some feedback on what you'd like to hear, what I can do better on, etc., etc. I welcome everything. I truly appreciate feedback and just interactions with listeners, whether it's negative or positive. Just let me get all of it. You got a Twitter account? Follow me on Twitter, WESTCOAST_ROB. And thank you all out there for listening. Thank you for watching. Until the next episode, this is West Coast Rob signing out. YeahDat.